This is red deck win. This is RDW. You win in the first 10 to 15 minutes, or it's done. So it's all over for you. Whereas when you look at FPX, they got way more on their side. They got a bunch of control that can come in from this Leona, from this Lulu as well. You got some great scaling coming in from the Viego and this Kaisa as well. I love their mid jungle 2v2 as well. This is such a strong combo that we're seeing a hell of a lot of here in the LPL, and definitely something that can go toe to toe in a 2v2 scenario against BLG, but you do have to be careful as Doinb. The opportunity to try and burst you out here alongside Zeka and WeiWei can actually be pretty nice, especially in these early laning phases.
Yeah, agreed, right? I think as well, like, at his prime as well, so sport matchup still a little bit of fun here going into the final game.
And I'm excited now to see, you know, exactly how this one's going to turn out. It feels like to me, just from the draft, I do prefer FPX's style. Just because it gives you more opportunities to try and play through. But also, I mean, for BLG, they have been a slower paced team, right? They've not been a team that we kind of gone, yeah, they just take over the maps, go nuts with Zeka, go and roaming everywhere, getting all these kills. It has been WeiWei gets a couple of kills for BiuBiu. Great, we're going to stall the game out. Like, they're one of the longest average win times in the LPL. So for this, playing a composition like this feels very counter to what BLG are renowned for.
Yeah, because BLG's early games are completely, you know, either nothing or stale, right? I love that you bring that up. It really is. I never thought about it, but yeah, so BLG trying something completely different, and I think it's important to note that for FPX, like, this could be a very stagnant game for them. You know, Lulu through the laning phase doesn't do too bad, but Tian just has to make sure he matches WeiWei and can have some kind of impact. And then we have a Viego, a Lulu alongside him, and more importantly, as Nuguri does great trading, a Kaisa who can dive and wrap around the members of BLG.
It feels like this composition more on FPX is like set up for Nuguri to succeed, right? Yeah. You can play pretty heavily through this top side if you want to get him ahead. He's actually gone for the Ignite in the lane as well, so certainly would like some early pressure to try and utilize that Ignite, but it really does feel like if you can get Nuguri going between Doinb speed-ups, between Chris being able to enable him with CC, this Viego just takes over the game. So I'm curious to see if we do get that action coming through from Tian. Right now, though, he is passing from top to bot, so looking to see if he can secure this bot side scuttle through Lwx and Crisp's pressure.
Yeah, because it should be fine here with even Doinb's pressure. Tian spotted on a ward, so they'll know where he's coming from, but might even have a chance to get double scuttle as Zeka heads on in, Glitter Lance connects at max range. There's the clone out too. Doinb doing a good job, but he's used all his corrupting potions while Zeka, he's got his last one, now pops it. Biscuit available for Doinb, but he's just going to teleport back in. Tian now towards the bottom side of the map where bottom wave is even, and WeiWei's also towards his Krug, so jungler's heading here naturally.
The thing here, though, is that, like, Zeka's going to get the bang at the back, right? There's a big wave now about to push in towards mid. Zeka will now move away, but he'll be able to teleport in towards that scuttle if he wanted to, but actually looks like WeiWei, he's just going to give it up. Instead, look to path back over towards this top side and pick it up as Zeka comes back into lane. You can see, like, with the extra gold that he has, there's the extra little bit of a starting item with the Doran's ring picked up for Zeka, and he can just move straight across if WeiWei needs help.
But Nuguri's removed the shield. Yeah, he definitely will. But WeiWei's come here. This is exactly where he meant to go. Chains down. Nuguri locked down. WeiWei's and Olaf, they knew that he'd probably be trading. Doinb has the flash. Dagda. I'm getting game one vibes.
That was not the best of ideas from Nuguri. I have a feeling he thought, okay, well, WeiWei's going to look to contest on towards bottom scuttle, but he had actually backed away. Tian was long gone as well and wasn't in a position to try and help out on that trade. And Nuguri has no flash. We've already talked about this. He's a sitting duck, and now WeiWei is looking to put pressure topside again. Moving
between vision, he'll be spotted out by a ward, I believe, on the way out as he crosses back into his own jungle. But, I mean, if Tian's getting bottom side scuttle and mid pushed, what do you expect's going to happen here?
I mean, you've already analysed it, to be honest. Like, I have nothing more to add to that. I'm just with you on that one.
What the heck?
I don't know. I'm not sure what the thought process was from Nuguri.
I got a feeling we're going to play a game show after this, Dagda. I don't know, man. I don't know. We might end on it, but we're probably going to get mass yeses once again. So, strange move. First blood over to the Olaf. A comp that needs to accelerate. Dagda already highlighted it for you. BLG is very straightforward. So, we want to see how far they can push it here. And especially when WeiWei has the tools, when he has the early damage on the pickaxe. Now, with no camps as well, Dagda has access to Dragon in the bottom side. He can look to set up aiming and ppgod and get in this lane. Because LWX and Chris will have to burn summoners if they're even in the lane, if they're pushed out in whatsoever.
Yeah, and I don't think you'd be able to go for it straight out the bat here, actually, with the reset coming through from aiming and ppgod. Looks like they want to try and get that Noon Quiver before they start up this, but with that reset, it actually buys time for Tian here to try and go for this. Spots out WeiWei, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Tian maybe try and go, but reset, cancelled by BLG's bot.
He definitely knew. ppgod and aiming going to have the inside shove while FPX have to take the long way back into the lane. Ward cleared as well from WeiWei. Only one towards the jungle pit that he can't get right now. Doesn't want to challenge. Even with the kill, just note that the only difference is pickaxe. Is Ruby Crystal and Longsword. So even though it is significant, right now you're against a Zhao, one of the best duelists in the game. You don't want to take that risk. Dagda, look at the map right now. You can see everyone just going back to farming, and all I can talk about is a CS lead up in this top side that is doing pretty well for Nuguri, despite losing out to first blood.
Yeah, despite being a silly Billy, Nuguri is still in the lead. Now, he did have to burn his TP to get back towards that top side. BiuBiu has his own, so I think that's why we're seeing a lot of hesitancy from BLG around this bottom lane, right? From FPX around this bottom lane, because they are aware BLG can come down. BiuBiu hit 6 as well. Definitely going to have a stranglehold over that, but it's why I'd actually like to see WeiWei again force these dragons. We talked about them needing to accelerate this game. That's the best way.
WeiWei is here though. Forget that. They're going back to what they tried and tested. Do you remember you and I did a segment, and Dagda, you nailed this so well when you talked about BLG being a little bit one-dimensional. This whole series always top to BiuBiu. Doesn't matter what changes. Doesn't matter you have a Kalista bot. They go top once again.
Yeah, it's rare that you see me needing to argue the fact that Olaf and Kalista should be looking towards dragons, but here we are in game number 3 of this series. I mean, you've got such a strong composition that can go for it. You've controlled mid, even right now, like, you've got Doinb needing to back, Zeka's in control, push in bot side. Like, this is take dragon. Like, this is how you force FPX to fight. And then Tian, honestly, I think he's been doing a pretty good job of just being like, cool, well, if yous are going to kind of mess around, go top side, well, I don't need to start this up. I don't need to give yous the opportunity to take a fight. My best job right now is to try and match WeiWei as he drifts across the map and prevent him from interacting with these lanes.
Prevent him from doing anything in this early game, and then you just win by default. Lulu, Viego, and even Kaisa, right, in comparison to the Kalista. Yeah. It's as easy as that. So you can see Tian up in the top side. He's going to set himself up for the Herald, and this would be a huge denial from BLG.
And BLG are going to be late to the play, right? You've already got Kaisa mid, they've already shoved in. ppgod and Aiming are trying to move across, but we've got full prio here for FPX.
Well, BiuBiu doesn't have Dragon's Rage available. WeiWei does have the Ragnarok, and Herald's just gone. BLG is saying, we need to fight this, guys. We need to do something. ppgod's going to flash on in, but Tian with the Crescent Guard immediately. The flash again, the kick, but doesn't work out. BiuBiu into the thick of it. His ulti not available, remember. It was the Ragnarok I was getting confused on. As 4 versus 5, re-engaged from ppgod, but BiuBiu getting axed out. Nuguri has stolen him, and BLG just couldn't get anything at all.
No, they end up losing a member in the midst of all that. It's actually WeiWei that goes down, giving the kill to FPX alongside the Rift Herald. And I gotta say, well played by FPX, right? Kiting back, Crescent Guard keeps Tian up for so long. And when you finally get the commit from BLG, instantly wall growth from Doinb to shut that down. And it meant that there was just nowhere for BLG to take it. So now as we start to move forward, you can see that you've got Rift Herald to start to accelerate these key carries like Nuguri in the top side. And this is what we're talking about, right? Tian, wall growth, right as WeiWei overcommits. BiuBiu doesn't really have enough to go in because, as you said, Hysterics, no Dragon's Rage available, only just ticks up now, but it's too late. BiuBiu's too low, and he's not in a position to try and finish off some of these low health bars.
Aiming's ult. The ppgod went into the wall, then went behind him. That was a very confusing Kalista ult. Like, you have a 4-man knock-up at the potential, but Aiming didn't want to walk forward, and now, in the bottom side, FPX looking to get a plate. They'll successfully do it. Lwx just has to hit the turret one more time. 160 gold solo. Herald as well. And it looks like this Kaisa will be able to walk up, play around it. Gold given over, and FPX, they're even in gold. They're going to get a dragon. BLG's early game is fast running out.
We're very quickly getting to a point where, as you said, BLG just kind of fall off. Like, it's not even like a little bit. It's an entire cliff. It's an avalanche of just despair that BLG are coming up to. And unfortunately for them, well, FPX, they're coming out ahead in every aspect, right? You look at the laning phases. Apart from bot side, you've got those CS advantages and certain extent in that jungle matchup as well. You look towards the items that are going to be coming through. The wood item spike isn't as strong, obviously, as BLG side, but it's still nothing to sniff at as Nuguri.
Where does he go? Get it. Is he going to die over Scuttle again? Isn't there some kind of joke from NA here? Yes. Great kickback from BiuBiu. Who is it who dies all the time over Scuttle? It's not Blabber, is it? Maybe it's Blabber. Yeah. But I tell you what, Dagda, second time. Nuguri has died over this top Scuttle crap.
Well, how else is he going to get a CS lead? He's 90 to 80. He's got to get those double scuttles to keep himself above, you know? Keep that CS difference. But yeah, I don't know. That's interesting from Nuguri, especially when you, again, no safety net. He does not have that flash, and BiuBiu, nice job to get the Warthog kick to finish him off.
God, Nuguri, are you in trouble again? Be honest with us. Come on, WeiWei, Ragnarok time, underneath the turret. He's trying to survive, but I don't know, man. I cast a region where the Shy and Nuguri exist. This is not new to me. Tian in a bit of trouble, Crescent Guard there, aiming, looking for more damage, but it's denied. And at least BLG are going to the one lane they always go to, which happens to be Nuguri's lane, where he's now 0-3.
I mean, that's his power spike, right? If you remember his LCK days, 0-3 is where Nuguri's at his most comfortable. Now we need to fear him, BLG.
Dagda, he was like 2-6 in game 1. I don't think this is where he's his most comfortable.
I mean, look, that wasn't his fault. The thing is, it has to be 3 deaths on him in the top lane, not 3 deaths spread out onto everyone else in the top lane. That's where it went south. It has to be he who dies 3 times, not he who also dies once and once and once. You know. So
it's now that he's hit his power spike, and now that your religious readings have told you that Nuguri can carry, what happens? Because we've just done a turret trade for turret trade. BLG do have the gold lead for once in this game, which is nice. Because WeiWei has those 3 kills on himself. What do you actually want to see in this game? It's been a slow dragon game. Herald's coming up in about 3 or so minutes. Do you just farm as BLG? Surely you have to build momentum somehow, right?
Yeah, so for BLG, I wanted to see them play more. Well, it was the dragons for me. Actually use Zeka, get out of lane, start looking down towards aiming a ppgod. Level 6 is nutty, especially against Lwx. Like, you get the depth charge into all that follow-up CC. Zeka pops over the wall, says, thank you very much, I'll take a 300 gold for myself. And you just power through that bot side. Turn that into dragons, turn that into pressure. But now, BLG, well, you haven't done that. You got 3 kills onto WeiWei's Olaf, which is wonderful, don't get me wrong. But you're also playing against a composition that counteracts a lot of what WeiWei wants to do. So, now, for FPX, it's more so about trying to get this top lane back on track for Nuguri, allowing yourself to scale to this 2-3 at a point, and you're going to be in really good shape now as BLG just haven't accelerated in the manner that they needed to.
Yeah, especially when there's no diving happening, there's no pushing for further plates. Bottom lane plates remain intact against BLG. Mid lane plates remain intact. It's only the 5 turret plating in the top side, but that was traded. And if FPX are trading, they're always going to be at a benefit as Chris is coming around the side. Doesn't know that BLG are there, but he's waiting. So patiently, he expects the play. And BLG, again, just have to back away.
They don't even try to commit. They know that they've kind of missed the mark here. Zeka taking a ton of damage off of Doinb as well means he's forced to back away. And this is what we were talking about, right? Is that BLG have not been a proactive team. They're not a team where we've seen Zeka interact with the rest of the map. BiuBiu occasionally will leave topside to try and interact with the rest of the lanes, but they've been very much about playing through, you know, WeiWei, facilitating the lanes, getting in, but staying to your lane. Now, with the composition that needs to snowball and you need to start moving around the map early, that just isn't there for BLG. They're not sure how to move this game forward.
At least the Herald will open up the map and still give native resources, but if BLG can find a fight around this dragon, then, you know, we are talking that the mark's been missed, but we also have to remember that for BLG, we're still looking at the next 10 minutes with bated breath, still thinking that, okay, if Aiming's able to get his mythic, if we're able to see Zeka with it as well, it's a very different game as ppgod actually going to get dope here. Locked down, Solar Flare, but Fate's Call used. They can stop FPX here, but Aiming doesn't want to throw him back right on the spot again, especially not into 5 members. Makes sense this time around. Herald's going to go topside though. They're saying, forget the dragon. We're going to try and push, and this is going to be a big one.
Yeah, this could actually be a double charge here if they're able to push in. WeiWei needs to forget about Krugs, actually help to clear that top lane turret. Rift Herald's going to die. It would have been great if they actually got that top lane inhibitor turret, but unfortunately not going to be the case. That might have been worth when you came to the trades, but now Nuguri going to be in a position to actually stop that charge. So yes, you get the tower, but again, what was the condition we set out for BLG? Find these dragons so you can look to take these fights. Take it when you're strongest off these 1.5 auto spikes. That's the second dragon going down at 15 minutes. There's games where we see a third dragon at this stage. And the fact that only the second one's gone down and they're not even going into BLG's hands means that, like, these conditions on which they can force FPX into fights are further and further away. Now, if I am FPX, I don't touch the next 2 dragons because, hey, you know, first item completion, second item completion for BLG is going to be too strong. Let's just let Nuguri play through a side lane, have him farm it up, and then we get to a point where we are just stronger.
That's right. The pacing of it as well has me curious because, you know, FPX constantly delaying out the dragon, knowing that BLG are never going to go and do it because vision control has been pretty decent. And trading on the side lane means, yeah, you don't need to fight if you're FPX because they're going to trade. We are going to do a handshake. Handshake always works better for the team that is going to scale. And right now we're looking at no Baron, we're looking at no Dragon. FPX are just moving around River, trying to get some pressure down. Even attempting the dive here, Dagda. I mean, BiuBiu has to back off while Nuguri is going to clear this wave so fast. And the rest of BLG are just interested in mid, bot, trying to get more of these turrets. But FPX are moving between and making sure that nothing can be taken for free.
Yeah, and they are just going to trade again. And as you said, like,
again,
a handshake, totally fine for FPX in this situation. So they shove in mid, or shove in top, trade bot. You can come back and just plonk Lwx in mid. And you're under very little pressure here as FPX. Yes, you have to deal with, like, BiuBiu and Zeka, who can opt in towards this 1-3-1 to try and spread out that pressure and create some sort of advantage for BLG to play around. But you should still be relatively fine as the rest of FPX, well, at least for Tian, should be hovering towards this mid lane.
Yeah, he should be. Dagda, it's going to be a boring game, let's be honest, you know. Here in the LPL, like, we are sport for choice. I think what people forget is, in our league with 17 teams, even some of the lower tier teams give us bangers sometimes. We have bloodbaths, we have fiestas, we have question marks, like Nuguri dying for Scuttle twice around, and I found out that, yes, it is a blabber move. Thank you to the person that whispered in my ear. As FPX actually may have found a pick. It's onto BiuBiu. He's isolated. They know that the rest of BLG backed away, and Tian's just going to ulti, or rather Crescent Guard, still up and available. Tian didn't even need to ult. It was wild growth, and he picks up a kill. So easy as that, as FPX have just picked up their 5,000th kill in the LPL.
And BLG aren't even in a position to really try and counteract this. They actually need to be careful that they're not collapsed on by FPX coming down from this top side.
Well, the wave's still there, though. I feel like Chris actually in a bit more trouble, but Aiming not willing to step forward. Instead, the turret to go down. BLG won't get a pick. It's turret for the kill. FPX still 1,500 gold behind, but it's 19 minutes into the game. I mean, I just want to see BLG pull the trigger. And Dagda, I really hope around this Baron, they can force FPX in and start something up, because 5 kills in a game like this where BLG have a Kalista, a LeBlanc, Lee Sin, Olaf, like, let's see something happen, yeah? No one wants to fall asleep, you know? No one wants to fall asleep. I'm sure, I don't know if LCK is still going or not, but I'm sure they're going to come over here and say, LPL's about fighting, it's about blood, it's fun. Well, game 1 was definitely about fun. You guys should go rewind, because that was something.
Yeah, we might have just used up all of our Fiesta. I think that might be the problem for this series. Is like there's only so much an LPL series can contain, and we saw it in the first 5 minutes of game number 1, so maybe not. But look, I want to see 1-3-1 set up here from BLG. You can then use that to, well, one, threaten on towards Doinb. Doinb's not going to do amazing in the side lane, fine at clearing, but not very good at actually contesting that push. And then have BLG collapse onto mid lane. You got BiuBiu who can look for dragon kicks, Zeka who can pop over the walls and get a lot of damage done, and force back FPX. But right now, they're just matching for having this ping pong going on in the mid lane, and it's not actually netting anything for BLG, and FPX are just farming up as per usual.
Okay, EP. FPX say, we don't care. We've got 2 dragons. Wait, never mind. Maybe they do care. Sonic Wave's there. Doesn't connect. Nuguri forcing away BiuBiu.
They don't need to care.
This is a 5v5 mid. They don't need to care, Dagda, but we know it's FPX. You know? It's like a children's toy. You see that someone else is playing with it, now you want to play with it.
Well, I think BLG might be trying to play with them a little bit here. Now aiming on the back line.
Wild growth, then BLG want this. So maybe disengage. Solar Flare was already burnt. Nuguri off on the flank. WeiWei's low, but Zeka happy to run forward. FPX still looking to contest, but now the BLG have done the damage. Dragon is there.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what I expected, right? BLG are just stronger. So what we said for FPX, you just ignore these dragons, try different sideline pressure instead, and actually start to push out these waves. Because the biggest way that I see BLG playing this, as we already talked about 1-3-1, but like using that side pressure into collapsing on towards picks and jungle, picks underneath towers in mid lane, like getting control over dragons. And if you're allowing these long lanes from BLG to continue pushing in against you, well, BLG got it back after Dragon, they now push them back out, and you're giving way more control, especially with top tier 2 already gone. It's so much easier for BLG to start wandering in towards that top side and now threatening onto the Baron.
Yeah, I hope so, because that would really bring momentum to the game. And I think after picking up the Dragon as well, BLG didn't really expend much. Fate's Call will be available in about 30 seconds. ppgod's depth charge there too. Zeka is a LeBlanc, let's not even talk about it, but everything up on the flash department as well. That's important to note, especially when bottom side's pushed out mid as well. All it needs is a quick push from aiming. And then they clear the vision from FPX around Baron, and then we do the dance. Now, Dagda, I'm kind of disappointed we don't get to do our game show after this. I feel like Nuguri's couple of moments don't warrant, you know, our famous game show. If anyone's tuning in, you know, was that running it down, I believe was it called? Or was it running it down? What was the game show, Dag? Do you remember?
Was that running it down? Yeah.
Was that running it down?
But we're about to see another one.
Okay, we're not going to ask the question for now because ppgod a bit too far forward, has to flash away. BiuBiu not willing to take the Lee syndrome in that case, and ppgod now without his summoner just because FPX were moving as a unit and found him.
Yeah, and that's kind of the downside. Lee Sin into Lulu kind of sucks. Because the second you go to take us, like, okay, well, if I can get away from the wild growth, then maybe, no, she's still got Whimsy. If I can get past the wild growth and the Whimsy, no, that person still has Flash, okay, this entire play is dead in the water. And this is kind of what you're seeing here for BiuBiu and why I want to go towards this 1-3-1. If you can at least separate FPX so they're forced into an uncomfortable spot where Doinb isn't with Tian, isn't with Lwx, then maybe you can find these opportunities to burst people out with Zeka or set up these plays with BiuBiu. But as it stands, it's just too easy for FPX to sit there, farm it out, not worry about getting engaged on because they meant to disengage that they have.
They're the big brain people in this game. BLG just struggling. I mean, even the vision's not clear. As long as FPX just has the vision there, the game goes on longer and longer and longer. And let's hope it doesn't go too long here. But of course, if FPX know they can pull the trigger, they get those items, it's going to be game over, lights out. BLG is WeiWei able to pick it up. Double man Solar Flare though. In a bit of trouble is ppgod. He doesn't have his flash and the Fate's Call's used. The Fate's Call, cleanse used on aiming every time. They're just dropping down the Solar Flare and FPX are doing fine. They're now pushing mid-turret. And Zeka's not there. He came up as a LeBlanc. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm even going to pull my mic out. And Dagda, I might take a seat. I might take a seat. I think we've earned it.
Oh, he's going. He's actually going.
I'm taking a seat. They can't see it, but I'm taking a seat. It's a very long cable. But, you know, handheld mic and all that kind of jazz is kind of nice. First of all, how's Ireland? How you go? Are you in lockdown?
we're kind of half in lockdown, so like you can still go to like outside dining and that, but like anyone who's been to Ireland realizes that we experience approximately 8 to 9 seasons per day. So trying to guarantee that for your hour or whatever it is that you're at your table, that you have sun is going to be really, really difficult.
That's
so like
rough.
even
It's summer there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that doesn't really exist here.
Okay.
I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, what's the weather? Because I'll tell you right now, it's like 8 or 9 degrees. If anyone doesn't know, Sydney's in lockdown because some people are silly. But you can all be happy that Hysterics follows the rules, okay? I follow the rules and I wear masks because I'm a good boy. But yeah, it's been extended by another 7 days. And, you know, I guess this is what it's like feeling like a LCK cast. And just anyone tuning in. I actually enjoy the LCK. I enjoy that cast. I mean, they're great. Big shout out to Atlas, who's always...
Traitor.
What do you mean? Hey, I never get a break here. All I do, my voice just breaks each and every time. And I feel like every time we cast, it's always blood. And you'd think I would say, oh, it's refreshing then as top lane dive. Doesn't matter. You have a Lulu and you're out. Bot lane, doesn't matter. There's a Viego catching the wave and you can't push anymore. Game goes on, people fall asleep, and now Crisp, is he caught out? Guys, do we know the answer to this? TP mid, ppgod, is he in trouble? Well, Crisp actually hooked in. Maybe action. Are we going to get a kill? Crisp actually shielded up for the time being. Doinb's there, and now it's all up to FPX. They want to go in for the engage. ppgod starts it off. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. As the flash away from Doinb, he's used the wild growth on himself. BLG are finally getting their fight. They've done the damage as well. It took a while, but Lwx into the backline as the Kalista, as the Kaisa, excuse me. But too many people live on. BLG finally. It took 26 minutes, Dagda, but better late than never.
And it's still, even though we're talking about BLG running out of time, that timer is 5 minutes to 12. 2 items completed across the board here for BLG. They are still just that bit stronger. And you see it in that team fight, able to take down FPX and now get themselves a bar.
Yes, we got blood, we got action, and the biggest thing is BLG, before they became completely irrelevant, got the Baron. We start off here because Chris was like, don't worry, guys, we have a Lulu, we can bait them.
Yeah. I don't know what the idea was from Chris, because, like, Lwx was already gone, Doinb was out of the picture, like, there was no reason to try and force this issue, but Chris gets caught out, and then from here, like, Doinb almost gets bursted out instantly, and there's just way too much front-to-back dive that's coming through from BLG, and Lwx does a really good job of keeping himself safe in the back line, well, kind of sideline, I suppose, for most of this, but he just doesn't have the damage to deal with BLG. Quite yet. Like, even has the Serpent's Fang there as well, which isn't exactly like a heavy hitter when it comes towards the damage that it can deal. Actually, not even sure why he's gone for the Serpent's Fang. Double Hysterics, I suppose, but...
Well, I guess he likes the item quite a lot. Good damage out of Zeka. FPX are walking into this. FPX, you know that you shouldn't fight. Wild Growth doesn't matter. Solar Flare down, that's great. But we're looking at Lwx and Nuguri into the backline. He zones himself. ppgod missing the dredge line. Zeka forward. And it was all a ruse. FPX back on the Dragon. Never mind, they got it. They got the Dragon. They're on Soul Point. And BLG, even with the Baron, the longer this fight goes, the worse it is. Zeka with the chain. Dredgeline misses into the backline. BiuBiu trying to make the hero play. Heartbreaker doesn't connect. Crisp goes in as well. And it's Aiming, who's just hitting away. But it's Reset City. Number 1 for Nuguri. On to the next. Triple kill already given over. He's running down at this point. Dredgeline, Heartbreaker, Heart Attack. Aiming, running for his life.
I mean, Nuguri's kind of got to do the same now. Zeka's over the wall. Nuguri, he gets caught out. He went too deep. But FPX, they still get the tower. They still got the Dragon. And they're getting more here as well. BLG covered on the sideline, but make sure he does a little bit more.
Maybe, Dagda, but you know what I want to say? It doesn't matter because FPX, look, the fight was in their favor. They got a turret, gold, maybe 3,000, but we're kind of back to square one as we look at this again after the Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, the Dragon rage is down for BiuBiu, so he's kind of just playing distraction there, using the Gore Drinker to heal up, but you're taking so low as BLG. Nuguri's getting all these resets off. You can see the triple kill for him in this fight. And then he goes for the gung-ho play of trying to get all the way back onto Aiming. He had nice cleanse coming through from Aiming just as the W connects from Nuguri. But Zeka's in position to finish him off, and Nuguri just gets picked apart.
But hey, he got kills, so he's not 0-5, he's not 0-4. He looks like he's done a good job in through the early laning phase. It was a rough time for Nuguri, so hey, power to him. We have to remember that BLG still do have the gold lead, and as I was saying in the replay, as wow, that's a LeBlanc. Zeka actually went Ludens this time, so it hurts a lot more, Dagda. You pulled out that point last time. He has a Magi's. I'm actually wondering if BLG can continue pushing this, because now with Zeka and the deep turrets that they've taken, he can play around and be such a nuisance to people on FPX who don't have the Lulu nearby.
And it feels like BLG... Oh, hang on.
That's a good ulti from Tian, though. It doesn't matter. BiuBiu's gone way too deep. It's reset time. Bates call, solar flare. It locks down aiming. BLG, it was fine to play aggressive with Zeka, but BiuBiu, I don't know, Dagda. Not a good thing here, as FPX has just put themselves even further back in the game.
I'm glad that fight happened, because I was about to praise BLG and say, hey, look, it looks like they finally realized, you know, how they can use Zeka in these kind of fights at tower, how they can push inside lanes, actually use a grouped up version of BLG. Yeah. But BiuBiu instantly just turns that around, so I never actually got to get that sentence out of my mouth before BiuBiu kind of instant. So goes too far deep. He gets onto Crisp as well. Like, what are you going to do in that scenario as Doinb?
Is he dead? Well, does he have the wild growth? Yes, he does, Dagda. He's flashed over the wall. Whimsy will give him the movement speed he requires. He's running up to brother Nuguri. And Nuguri will be able to save his life. Of course, BLG don't follow any further. Dagda, we're going to get a replay here. I'm just wondering, BiuBiu goes in. Crescent guard, beautiful. He wanted the kick, but the kick onto Tian, a little bit over-ambitious.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you can pick him off before the Crescent Guard comes through, but I feel like that's just still poor targeting. Like, Crescent Guard instantly would knock everyone back. He has flash to get away. Felt like it was a weird scenario. If that was Lwx, I'd be like, hell yeah, nice job, BiuBiu. You know, that could be the game changer right there. That could have been the game sealed up. But Tian is not your pick, especially now, like Hysterics Gauge, Randuin's Omen. He's so tanky to try and get through. It just seems odd from BiuBiu. Now, though, again, FPX trying to see if they can push out 1 minute until this dragon is up and available, and you do look at the items from FPX and go, hey, look, they're damn strong, right? 3-item Nuguri, 3-item Tian, even Lwx working towards his Infinity Edge as well. But you can see with Zeka having that 3-0-5 10 stack Magi's, he can still hurt people if he's able to pick them off.
We have great LeBlancs in the LPL. Zeka, this is a comfort champion for him, much like it is for someone like Fofo, someone like Rookie as well in his prime. BiuBiu's trying to bait in Nuguri, but he's not buying it. And Dagda, we've been saying it all game, you know, in our lull moments, in our resident sleeper moments, in our pog moments, FPX's comp outscales guys. But BLG want to fight now, but FPX are more confident than ever. Fate's Call used and aiming the short-range 80 carry all the way to the back. He's hitting a tank for now. Tian once again in a great position who takes the wild growth. Re-engage here from BLG as FPX actually taking the brunt of it, but look at Nuguri. Healing up, looking for the reset. He cleans away, but not enough life steal. Doinb on the back end as well. BLG at 33 minutes. It doesn't matter. They've picked apart the pieces, sent them skyward, and Bilibili Gaming might actually be able to run it home.
They don't have a wave just yet, but it's going to be arriving shortly. ppgod looks like he might be the one that's going to tank this one up in the short run as they try and run this one through.
Dagda, a bit of a surprise, considering that FPX are at that point where, okay, you can outscale, but sent away. I'm not sure how FPX lost that, but BLG, they get their condition down pretty hard. Crisp has respawned to Solar Flare and slowed down, but kicked away. Zenith played janky as ever. Nexus exposed though. Crisp is dead. And BLG beat the 2019 World Champions in the strangest series that I've cast in a while.
It was a bit of a series that was all over the place. I wasn't expecting to get to the 28, 30-minute mark and see this early game team suddenly come alive and beat out the fight, but well played by BLG in that last engagement. Actually able to absorb a lot of the pressure with that Nautilus and then turn it back in their favor. Amy staying safe for so long. Lwx trying to burst them out with Doinb, but not able to do so, and the fight falls apart for FPX.
And I lied, Dagda. It wasn't the weirdest series in a while. It was the weirdest series in about 3 days because Suning RNG existed, and that series was just bad. This one was janky as all hell. It was just weird considering that we know what FPX are capable of. And look, Doinb, that man smiles through thick and thin. When you see him like that, you say that Doinb is mad. So I hope they return to the Rift twice as strong. And for BLG, the same can be said there. I think BLG are a team that are very capable, and we talked about them balancing out. There were good moments within this game, but more importantly, there were great moments in game number 1 where they were quite balanced. So there's a lot to be said about this team, a lot to be said about the series. Nevertheless, it is still a loss for FPX, and that's going to sting quite a lot in the standings.
Yeah, especially because, like, for FPX, they're trying to see if they can get back up towards the upper echelons of the LPL right now. I mean, what are they? They're sitting as... they're still 4th at the moment. Now. That'll put them at 5 and 3 now. Yep. So they're going to be tying with JDG. Actually, they're going to drop down because LGD is actually going to go up ahead of them after that. No, they didn't win earlier on. Sorry, I'm blanking. But either way, I think it's a nice win for BLG. The thing that I was kind of surprised at was still we're seeing so little early game focus from them, despite the composition that they decided to pick. But they're still able to rely on just this strong team fighting coming through. I think Amy, a big proponent for a hell of a lot of that. I think as well as Zeka, when we got towards these team fights, you could see him, the damage that he had and the threat that he had for the backline was really, really difficult for FPX to deal with. Yeah, it was. And I think I was surprised that, like, you know, you talk about that damage, and I'm just so confused because it should have been fine. It should have been fine at the end of the day, but it just didn't feel like it was capitalized on. Let's round up the series better so I can get direction in myself and what I'm saying. The series as a whole was showing the weaknesses of both these two teams and why they're not the strongest teams in the LPL right now. If you say FPX is the strongest team in the LPL right now, I'm not sure. I really don't think so. Have you looked at Edward Gaming?
Have you looked at EDG? Have you looked at, like, the best parts of LNG? Rare Atom, despite standings, I think are looking a lot better this split as well. You could argue FPX being a top 2 team, but I think at the moment it's just really questioning what's going on. IG are probably the best team in the LPL right now.
No.
Oh my
All right,
God.
no.
There
We're
we go.
Back off this.
That's the analysis we want, isn't it, dude? You only lose to Rogue Warriors if you're trolling, you know. It's okay. They beat FPX. That's fine. Maybe it doesn't mean much anymore. I don't know what to say, Dagda. I will say, though, in terms of this game number 3, it was nice seeing the team fighting coming through. BiuBiu, a couple of crazy moments, but Zeka on the LeBlanc was fantastic. I think WeiWei showcased as well his highest level and some of his best form. This Olaf pick today, we've seen kind of replace the rumble that was constantly coming out. Olaf is a bit of a solid ground now that we can build off of, as WeiWei actually picked up MVP as well.
Yeah, so WeiWei looking incredible on that pick, but I think to kind of round this series out, one of the big things we saw was a lot of mistakes coming through from FPX's side. Like game 1, we saw a lot of messiness. Game 2 as well, I'm glad that we're getting to see Nuguri's messiness once more, because this guy, you're not even a jungler and you're the one dying to try and secure Scuttle Crabs. Yep. Doesn't make a huge amount of sense to me. Gets picked apart on the top side as well. But then when we got towards these team fights, as we said, look, WeiWei doing a hell of a lot of work in these fights. Amy, this was the last fight that we saw position as well. Amy's positioning here was wonderful. And even you can see the second that you have Lwx try and commit onto that, Amy flashes away, gets himself back behind ppgod. And I think that it was very much a focal point of WeiWei also having Amy by his side. Zeke as well, threatening that backline and a hell of a lot of burst. That just was too much to bear. And I thought when we got to this point where you get the Hysterics gauges coming through for Viego, when you got the enabling coming through from Doinb, and at least being able to stop a lot of these guys like BiuBiu, they might be able to carry across, but the BLG players just played that so damn well. Yeah, they did, and I thought, aiming's out of the fight. That's not good, but FPX wanted to follow. They wanted to section off and away from the Lulu, so... beaten by their own standards, I guess. And BLG with a 2-1. So we're going to go have a chat with Wendy, who's standing by in the Shanghai Arena, alongside WeiWei, the MVP of